What is up, you guys? The Fallout What If you're here, and today I'm going to be doing What If Deku was the Incredible Hulk, Part 4. Now, what's going to happen is this. Basically, Izuku and Intelli and Melissa just hang out for a while, and even Shoto is hanging out with them because basically Shoto was taught differently, and she was much more inclined to listen to him. Now, Izuku was just going around and fighting freaking bad guys a couple of times until he heard basically what had happened. And basically there was a couple of bad news. Iida's brother got hurt a lot. Iida wants revenge now. And basically, well, Melissa, how would I say this, is somewhat becoming weak. Now, every time she tries to use her inventions at times, basically they don't somewhat work. For some reason, it's like her inventions do work, but at the same time, she needs to become much more stronger. And she doesn't know if she has it in her to be an actual hero. She thinks she could be a good hero. She thinks that maybe that there's a good way for her to be a hero. But at the same time, she thinks that maybe she should just give up. And Izuku just says nothing but taps her or smacks her on the face, just like claps her face for a minute there, and just goes, ouch. That actually stings the face at times. He didn't just slap her with like a pimp slap or the hand of God himself. No. What he basically did was just squished her cheek, her face, and just said, you gotta concentrate on just becoming stronger then. And she just says, I'm trying to be stronger, but can you get your hands off my face? I can't speak that good. Basically, if you didn't know what I said, he said, can you get your hands off my face? I can't speak that good. And basically, Izuku just tells her, look, basically you gotta train yourself. If you don't train yourself, then you might not be ready yet. And this is when basically Intelli just tells her that you can be a good hero, but you just gotta practice more. And this is when Shoto says, or Shota, or Shoto, whatever you want to call her, basically all she does is just keep eating her soba. Now, Izuku just says everybody needs to train. Otherwise, it's useless if you don't train. Now, Izuku just goes around and talks with her still, and she decides to give it one more try. See if she can become stronger, like Izuku said. Now, Izuku is just becoming a little more irritated with the fact that he can't get... How would I say this? I don't know what the word is, but basically, all he does is just nothing. He understands that Iida's mad. He understands that Intelli is basically weak, and Melissa is basically trying her best into understanding how she can use what she has. Now, the one thing Izuku doesn't tell them is the recurring nightmares that he has about Muscular and the demon within him, or the Incredible Hulk. Now, what Izuku does do is basically, how would I say this? He does nothing but train again. He becomes much more agile and much more smarter. Instead of just smashing, does it with a little bit of style. But anyway, we get to the whole point of the story where Melissa is going back to Island to train and understand how she can use her technology much more. Basically, right now she's kind of like Batgirl. That's her tidbit right there. But because of not understanding combat as well as she would like to, that's why she's not pretty good, because she needs to learn how to be much more capable of understanding how to fight. But I'm giving her a better idea here. I have plans for this girl. Now, while they were all doing their thing, basically, Deku and Iida, since Deku's going with the same person, since he knows that Iida's going to, how would I say this? Destroy. Trying to destroy freaking, what, I forgot his face right now, Stain. Now, they go to the same place, and the whole thing with Stain, the whole thing with Intelli, she's with a random hero, let's say Gunhead. Let's just say that, so Chaco and Intelli are learning from Gunhead. And freaking Deku is with Iida, and they're going to learn how to do hero stuff. But Iida goes around and sees freaking Stain. Now the whole thing with Stain, basically, he's just going to attack him. And Deku is just thinking, oh man, running with Iida because he saw where Stain was at. So, after all that chasing around, he finds out that Iida just got hurt. Because basically he was going all around the city, and because Iida was using Recipio Burst much more, and even though his engines were cut out, basically he kept still using it, which hurt his legs a lot. But after fighting him, now he is just going around and swinging at him, but basically Stain just got the better of him. And this is when Deku just runs up to freaking Stain and just punches him in the face. Now, when he punched him in the face, Stain just says, "Ah, that hurt. Ah, but who are you?" And this is when Izuku says, "It's none of your business, but you gotta actually leave. I don't care who you are. I have to protect this idiot because he just started to fight you, even though he does know that you're much more skilled in fighting. Not only that, you're a good swordsman. Not only that, you were the one who destroyed Ingenium, his brother." This is when Stain realizes what's happening and gets mad at Iida because basically he was doing something that heroes shouldn't do. And that was pretty much just attacking people for the wrong reason. Now, Izuku just says, "Look, as much as I want to say sorry for what's going to happen, you're going to either have to leave, or basically I'm going to take you down. I don't care who you are, but I know that you're a bad guy, so basically we have to just get this over with." This is when Stain just says, "I like you, kid. As much as I hate to say this, I'll give you a chance. If you leave, I won't kill you. How does that sound?" And this is when Izuku says, "Very tempting. But no, I still have to take you down." And this is when he just runs to him and almost kicks him in the face. But this is when Stain slashes him, or he thought he slashed him. That's because freaking Deku just grabbed some sand or dust or whatever, like basically dirt off the ground, and just threw it at freaking Stain. Stain just says, "Ah, dang it, kid." And this is when Izuku just punches him straight in the gut, and after that grabs him. Then after that he becomes the Incredible Hulk because he angers himself, because he knows how to get himself angry. And he throws him across the city. Or not across the city, he throws him to one of the buildings. Stain realizes what's going to happen, regains his composure, and just grabs onto the wall. And he says, "Kid, you may be an idiot. Not only that, reckless. That's not what a hero does do. But a true hero actually tries to protect the people instead of trying to just hurt the villains entirely. You have my respect. Although, have to admit, you could have been a quarterback. That hell of a throw you just gave me. It's a good thing you didn't slam me down to the ground like that other kid that you slammed. Or the other kid you attacked." Oh yeah, is he talking about Bakugo? He's probably talking about Bakugo. I was the only one who slammed him. And all that's going to happen is Iida gets mad at Izuku, but Deku just slaps him with the face. Guess what? He's in the Hulk form. So Iida is basically on the wall, cracked, and basically his whole body is in place. And Iida's trying to say something, but the pain is so immense that he just passes out. Now, Iida's in the hospital with a concussion, not only that, with a freaking band-aid to his whatever on his face because it's deep red. Now, Izuku just goes around and talks to him even more. And what Izuku does do is just say, Ingenium, I'm going to help you out here. Although this doesn't always work. This could help you out. And if you're lucky enough, you won't feel the side effects of it. Basically, he's going to give him a little bit of his blood, and what happens is basically Ingenium feels the pain, but he realizes that his back is turning back to the way it was. But Izuku does know that it's going to hurt a lot after he basically sleeps and wakes up yelling inside the hospital because the pain is so immense because it's different blood, and the blood is somewhat remaking it, but it doesn't feel like it's a cakewalk. No, it feels like he's going through hell. He feels like his back is either on fire or feels like it's being grabbed and being just rattled. The vibrations are hurting his whole back. Ingenium is screaming, but after 3 hours later of tortured screaming, he's back to normal. He now feels wonderful because his back, even though he felt that pain a lot, and yeah, it hurt a lot. Ingenium is now back to the way he was. Iida is somewhat happy, but at the same time, somewhat scared at the fact that Deku just did that. And not only that, he feels scared of the fact that Iida got slapped, and Izuku is basically right there saying, Iida, if you ever do that again, I'm going to hurt you so hard. Ah, sheesh, I really want to just punch you right now. But this is when basically that's pretty much over. Let's see. A good while later, basically Deku just goes back to his house, and after all that, just hangs out. Sometimes he calls Intelli and Melissa and Shota, because Shota's, I guess you guys want him in the whole thing. I don't know what to make of it, but I will try my best, people. You know I'll try my best. And basically, my 3K special has came out, although not a lot of people will watch it because they didn't know it was a 3K special. But that's not the whole point. The whole point is, Izuku is just going to pretty much not do nothing. And a couple of weeks later, or a week later, or whatever time zone or whatever happens, basically their training is done, and basically Izuku is going to call himself by a new name. His hero name is the Incredible Hulk. I was going to do the Spectacular Hulk, but at the same time, that's kind of copyright in its own way from Marvel's Spider-Man. But anyway, that's not the whole point of the story. The point is that basically Izuku's going around. Okay, I gotta stop talking very fast. The whole point of the story is that Izuku is going to basically go into summer camp, and Shigaraki comes around, does the whole talk. And here's the thing, Shigaraki is somewhat even angrier because this is the same kid that actually destroyed the Nomu. Remember, I said in the beginning that Izuku destroyed the whole Nomu, and basically Shigaraki was kind of mad. But Izuku just says, I can literally just crush your whole body and just snap it in two. Do you really think you can hurt me? Not only that, even if you do grab my neck and disintegrate it, I will turn to the Hulk the moment that happens. And Izuku basically just does nothing. Now, after all that happens, Izuku just goes around and hangs out with his friends after that, because Shigaraki just leaves. He doesn't call the cops, doesn't do nothing, and basically Izuku and Intelli are just picking out what to wear. Deku sees what Intelli's going to wear, and he's just thinking to himself, oh gosh. This is, pretty much Izuku does not know what to say. But anyway. This is when, let's see, freaking Midnight and Izuku just do their day-to-day routine workout. Because, I'm not going to go into detail. Pretty much, you know what's going to happen. They're going to be screwing like rabbits. Let's see. What else? Oh, yes. The whole training camp thing happens. But here's the thing. Izuku is going to wonder, who is this little kid? Because basically the Wow Wow Pussycats just do their thing. And Izuku is just, let's say this. Izuku is just wondering who this kid is. He's about to punch him in the nuts. The whole training camp thing, or basically the walking around the forest, basically that all happens, but Deku just turned into the Hulk. And everybody gets on his back except for Bakugo and probably, let's say, Dark Shadow. So, yeah, pretty much it. Now, Izuku is just going around talking with other people, and I have actually nothing to say about that, because Izuku is talking with the other class, because their class comes in over there, or his class is over there, and basically Izuku is not doing a thing besides, you know, preparing for a lot of things like training, or possibly, and I do mean possibly, just training itself. There's really nothing to it. Gangsta Rap made me do it. That's a joke. But anyway, the whole thing, the training camp. What happens with that? Let's see. I really don't know what else they did in the training camp besides just cooking, training, and that's pretty much it. Izuku tells them that he's going to give this food to Koda, and Koda gets mad at him, and he said that Izuku's father was the one who killed his parents, and he yells at him and keeps yelling at him for like the whole time. Even in the beginning, when they first met, Koda didn't want to punch him. He really wanted to hurt him a lot. But he knew that he was a little too strong. So Izuku just says this. Well, basically the whole conversation goes like this. Koda just says, Okay. So the whole fight just basically goes like this. Whew. Koda just talks to him and tells him why did his father have to kill him. Izuku says, I didn't know that this had happened before. I really didn't know who he had killed. And this is pretty much when Koda says, you lie. How did you not know? Your father was known as a real psychopath. He was known for being a psychopathic killer. Why didn't he do anything to save or to stop his father from doing anything like this? This is when Izuku says, I didn't actually know. At the very end, I do not know why he did all this stuff. This is when Koda gets mad and just throws a rock at his head. This is like during the whole fight with not the whole fight, during the whole freaking time he was there, like with the students. So everybody sees this and hears what's happening. Deku just looks down on the ground and says he does not ever want to see that ever happen. And this is when basically Izuku just says, I never wanted this to happen. I just wanted to be a normal kid. Normal kid, normal quirk, and basically just live on peacefully. If I couldn't be a hero because of my wish, I would have chosen the evil way. This is when Melissa and Intelli, even Shota, here's what he truly means. Because Shota knows about his father, and he knows that he doesn't like his father. So, yeah, pretty much Shota is thinking, why is this? Why are they talking about this right here and now? This is when basically he says, "So why didn't you stop it?" Izuku says, "I can't stop something when I wasn't there." This is when Koda gets even more mad and starts throwing anything right now on the floor. Basically rocks, debris, trash. Just getting mad at him. And this is when Izuku says this. Koda. This is when basically he says it in a soft yet firm tone. And this is when Koda says what? This is when Deku says, "I had nothing to do with my parents dying. Just like you didn't have anything to do with your parents dying. Your parents were heroes. I can never, ever say otherwise. For fighting and sticking around and fighting the hero killer, or basically the villain known as Muscular. I know that I can never get back happy memories. Just like you can never make happy memories. I would have rather lived in your shoes than lived in my shoes. Because my shoes are covered in so much blood. My shoes, my hands, they will always pay the price. Because one day, whether I like it or not, I am probably going to hell for my father's sins. And then I'll just start beating him there." This is when Koda just says, "You lie." And Izuku says, "I will not lie about this at all." This is when Koda now understands that he probably needs to shut it because Izuku's eyes are turning green. And not green, like this green. Basically, Izuku is telling him, "Look, believe me whether you like it or not. If you want to or not, that is. I never killed your parents. That was my father. I have no control of what my father does. I do, however, mourn the people that he has taken lives out of. I do mourn the lives that my father has taken." This is when Deku just says, "Here's your food." It's basically chicken and rice. You might like it. This is when Deku just says, "Koda, don't be ashamed of who you are. Just be ashamed of the bad things you ever did." And this is when he just walks off. This is when Koda just gets mad and just runs out. Now, a day later, basically nothing else. Pretty much is their last day, and Izuku knows what's going to happen. Now, Izuku does the same thing as he always does in the anime. Basically knows where where Koda's going to hide, because after that, he decided to go sneak and follow where Koda is at, just to make sure he was just safe. Pretty much that was it for him. He was just thinking, well, this kid is still young, so I don't want him to get hurt from anybody. And Izuku just finds out that basically another guy is going to be there. Someone who Izuku hates the most. Someone who basically just sees. Because this is during the whole time where the Vanguard Action Squad, or whatever that was called, basically, yeah, they attack. And Koda finds out that Muscular is there, and he's now horrified of what Muscular looks like now, because Muscular is much more evil. Muscular's body, it has rocks on it, or whatever kind of debris is on him. Spikes are like on his bones, on his kneecaps. Basically, Izuku, for some reason, not Izuku, Muscular is much more, think of Doomsday. Muscular looks like Doomsday, almost like Doomsday, but he still has the same color skin. Basically, he's looking at him, or looking at freaking Izuku and saying, or not Izuku, Koda, and saying, well, well, well. Who is this kid right here I see? Huh. Wait a minute. Say, kid, do you want to trade an eye with me? And this is when Koda now knows who this guy is. Now this is basically the whole part of the story. Izuku just knows where Koda's going to be at, and Koda is being choked right now, grabbed, and his eye is about to be plucked out. But this is when Izuku just runs even faster and just double kicks him in the face. This is when Muscular just goes onto the ground, and this is when Deku says, "Leave him alone. Who are you?" And this is when he says, "I know that voice. Dear son." And this is when Izuku looks at him and is thinking to himself, no, that can't be. This can't be real. I killed you. And this is when Koda says, wait, you killed him? And this is when Deku just says, yes, I did. But for some reason, he's alive now. Now, who are you? How did you live? If it is you, I want to know now, before I get mad. And this is when basically Muscular just says, when you killed me, you accidentally left blood on my hands. And when I mean blood, when I say blood, I actually mean your blood. You see, when I grabbed you, basically, some of your blood landed on me. And when you kept punching me, your knuckles were bloody. Not only that, when you kept hitting me and hitting me and hitting me, some of your skin particles, not only that the blood that you have, a little bit of hair, got inside my system. Or your genetics, I say. You know what? Scratch that. Our genetics. And this is when he says, so that means that it involved your blood because we're the same. Other than that, somebody could have been killed. That means that when basically Iida's brother was healing, his body rejected the blood, but the blood just kept healing him no matter what. So with Muscular, it adapted his blood, and now he looks like a Doomsday lookalike. But Izuku's just saying, so, what do we do now? Do I kill you once again and leave it at that? Because for some reason that meant that in the ocean, when you were dead, all I kept doing was all I kept thinking was, you were dead. But I had this gut feeling that something was going to come out. And if it wasn't this guy within me, it was either, that's right, your other half. The spitting image of me. Except greener, I guess. Why don't you let him say hello? I'm glad to have met him. And this is when Izuku says, you want him? You got him. And basically he says, Hulk smash! And this is when Muscular says, ooh, look at that. You look a little more different, son. But you are still the Green Devil himself. Oh, how I've loved this time to now kill you. And this is when these two start clashing together. While that happened, Izuku just told freaking Koda to run away. And this is when basically Koda and him, this is when Koda gets pushed out of the way because these two now are clashing with each other. Deku is just grabbing him, basically his Muscular by the arm. And this is when he was about to flip him, but Muscular just stopped him from flipping him, grabbed his arm, and just flipped him. Reverse flipped him. And this is when Izuku just looks around and grabs a freaking tree log and just smashes freaking Muscular in the face. This is when Muscular grabs all the muscles in the muscle fibers and just punches him with a straight left hook. And this is when Izuku just steps back for a minute there, a little dazed, but looks at him and just gives him with an uppercut. And after that, these two are starting to clash again. And this is when Koda is thinking, these look like gods right now. Not even gods, behemoths, just going around and just smashing one another. This is when Deku just grabs his leg and slams him to the ground. But this is when Muscular grabs a big part of the rock and smashes it onto freaking Izuku's face. Now this is when basically Izuku and Muscular are punching each other out, duking it out, because these two, if they keep going any further, they might cause explosions. And when I mean explosions, I mean gamma explosions, because these two now have gamma radiation. Muscular has gamma radiation. Izuku's already had this before, but because Muscular is much more adaptable in situations like this, because he actually has a quirk which can stop him at any time, basically now these two are just going at it. Izuku is just being grabbed from the back and basically Muscular grabs him, and Muscular does a German suplex. While that happens, Izuku grabs his freaking arms, and after that flips him, grabbing him over the top flip, slamming him down to the ground. But anyway, this is when Muscular grabs his freaking elbow and just freaking does an elbow, does a straight elbow to the face, scratching freaking Deku's, scratching his face in the process. This is when he grabs basically Izuku's freaking head, puts it down, does a freaking MMA move, kicking him in the freaking stomach with his knees, which do have spikes, and he keeps getting stabbed and stabbed and stabbed again. But because of Koda and Deku, basically Deku making noises, they find out what's happening to Deku, and basically Izuku is just fighting him. Not only that, the students are getting out much more earlier, so that means that they can find a way to get to safety much more faster. But Izuku knows that freaking Muscular is not going to give up, and so will Muscular. They're not going to give up, so the battle still continues. Now Izuku is just grabbing him from his freaking arm, trying to crush it, but this is when he gets a punch straight into the face. And here's the thing, now his muscles are much more stronger. Not only that, they can turn into spikes. So when Deku just punches him in the face, all he just felt was spikes coming to his arms. Not only that, this is when basically Muscular's whole body turns into spikes and grips him, doing a bear hug, and Deku is just yelling out in pain. And Izuku just grabs his freaking head and tries to squish it, and basically Muscular feels his head feeling like it's going to pop. But Izuku knows that anymore, and this could work, but this is when he basically gets shafted and gets his leg grabbed and being thrown into the ground. And after that, this is when basically Muscular gets on top, grabbing all the spikes on his legs, gripping him as well, just grabbing any part of him, putting spikes within it, meaning that he cannot move no more. And this is when Izuku just gets a smash into the face, once again, and again, and again. And this is when Muscular is laughing out loud, saying that he now knows that his son would have been the best villain ever, because he could handle his punches. He could have possibly handled All Might's 100% smashes. But this is when Deku just grabs him, trying to grab his face and pushing it away. But this is when Muscular just moves his hand and starts going at it, and at it again. What is Koda doing? Koda is over there, well, basically running away for his life, because these two, if they punched Koda even once, he could possibly die, because this kid is a weakling to them. No matter what, Izuku is just going at it and trying to block, trying to punch, but he keeps getting stabbed because the muscles in his body are still spikes. And this is when freaking Deku tries to pick him up. But even though he has spikes all over his body, this is when Muscular just smashes him into the face and does it again and again and once more until Deku's arms are already on the ground. Izuku is just getting smashed and smashed and smashed. His body cannot move one bit. Right now, all he can just do is just sleep. A deep, deep sleep. And this is when Deku is now dying. Deku is getting hurt so badly that he's just reverting back because he's falling into unconsciousness. And he just keeps going at it, and at it, and at it, until Deku just reverts back to his human form. And this is when Izuku just gets his head grabbed. And after that, his neck is snapped. This is when he says, "Oh dear son, you could have been the most powerfulest villain, like I said. But it was because your soft-hearted mother. She was too weak. She was so weak that... Oh, jeez, I wonder why I even put up with that woman. But I'll pay her a visit one last time. You know, the whole shebang." And this is when Izuku's on the ground. And basically, nothing is being done. The heroes are basically taking the kids out of there. All Might and the others are just going at it and fighting the villains. But Muscular just leaves because he thinks that there's no other reason to be there. Because he wanted just to fight Izuku, and he got his wish. This is when Izuku is on the ground, and basically not breathing, not doing nothing. But Izuku did stop Muscular from killing Koda, and with a smile on his face, that was his last thing to do. The fact that he saved somebody from ending up like his parents, that was the best feeling he ever had. The best feeling that Deku has ever had. Saving somebody's life in the very end, knowing that possibly he could have died, but in the very end he saved Koda, and that's all that mattered to him. This is when basically pretty much all the students are evacuated. The villains already left with Bakugo. Nothing much that they can do. Now, Izuku just is being buried the very next day by his peers. Because the thing is, they found the body of Izuku Midoriya. I forgot his last name, but you know, I'm just going to say Izuku Midoriya. But Izuku is just on the ground, being buried, and all the heroes and all the heroes and even Stain came, but nobody knows it was him. He looks way different right now because he basically is on the trees, looking straight at him, and all that's happening is Izuku is being put 6 feet deep in the ground. And here's the thing, his whole freaking neck was almost decapitated. So the whole fact that if they moved his head even a little, like any more than it could have been, he probably would have just gotten his head cleaved off, and they wouldn't be able to show the body. Now, Izuku is right there on the ground. Nothing else is happening. Nothing else is happening. The heroes now have to go find Bakugo. Not only that, Melissa and Intelli and Shota are very mad. And here's the thing. I'm going to keep this a secret still. But Melissa has become much more powerful. And she's going to make it her mission to save Bakugo. Now, I'm going to end it off here because I got the guts what if to practice up. But I'm going to basically talk to my fellow companions soon. Now, like, comment, do subscribe to the channel here, people. This has been the Fallout Whatever here. Bye.